The other day, I was playing with this idea. I wanted to be able to programmatically download a file. You know, like twirl your recording after finished conversation. How difficult could that be? Let's find out. First off, let's generate a brand new Elixir project. Next, I will install HTTP library, and I'll play a little bit to find out what's going on. Given the URL and pre-configured directory when I want to store my file, I'll perform the HTTP call get to obtain the data from this URL, and then using the body storing the response, I'll write it to the file, close it, and then I can go to the directory and see, well, the file is here. But some of you might be immediately like, well, what if the file is too big? And this is a challenge. In current approach, the HTTP will wait for the whole file to download, which means if the file is big enough, this will crash the virtual machine. You know this famous mantra, let it crash, that's so often told by Joe, Robert, and Mike? That's not exactly what they meant. I need to find answers. I need to dig deeper. A couple minutes browsing through the documentation reveals it. Here it is, the holy grail of the configuration. I'll give that one a try. Let's see what happens. Nowadays, I'll specify this option to the GET request and immediately returns the response. But this one doesn't have the body. Something's going on here. I'll use this flash function in the IEX to see what's going on, and it reveals there's quite a bunch of messages in my mailbox. For the sake of simplicity, I'll just focus on those two types of messages, async chunk and async end. Let's give that one a try, and let's implement the gen server that will handle this for me. First off, the configuration, I'll open it to consume the configured file URL and directory when I want to store them, make the state of the gen server, and then hand off over to initialize the download a little bit later. Next, let's implement the handle continue. And here, I'll trigger exactly the same call as we've done in the IEX shell. Here, I'll have a little bit more time to prepare the file to which I want to write the data and update my state with the configured state. Next off, I need to implement the handle functions here. First off, the async chunk, which will receive the chunk of data, which I'll write to the file. Next, the async end, which will indicate, well, there's nothing more to process here, so I can actually close the file and stop the gen server because there's no more work to be done. Next off, handle info, because there's a bunch of other messages which I need just to handle. In here, I'll just log them. Let's give that one a try. I'll spin a new gen server, which prints a bunch of log messages for me, but then when I go to the directory, I'll see the file is here, which is quite good. But there is, this is nice, this is working, but hey, how about the test, right? There's no software that can ship without a test. And how do I do about this, right? The streaming of the file, I don't control that one. But what if I made my gen server to actually use some HTTP mock library and I'll send the messages from the test, effectively controlling that? That could potentially work. Let's try that out. In my test, first of all, I'll just flag the current test process to trap exits because I want to assert that the gen server actually stopped working after finishing the work. Next off, I'll inject a new option, HTTP mock, which will do absolutely nothing. But then I'll send a bunch of messages, and at the end of the test, I'll just assert that the content of the file is the sum of the sent chunks. Give that one a try to implement in my production code. And here, I'll open it for the new option for the engine, which if not provided, will fall back to the HTTP poison. Here, in the handle continue, I'll just replace hard-coded HTTP poison with open library. Let's run the test. That works. Yes, that's a great success. But does it really work? Just happens that I have working IEX shell here. There's nothing in my directory here, but great success. There's the file. My name is Pawel Dawczak. If you want to see what's going on, how it's implemented, there's a couple more functions in here, a little bit more tests. So feel free to digest that if you want. Thank you.